Hello, is the Sinister Gambino here with a new video. In this video I'm going to be going over the Lester contact missions in this game. So I'm pretty sure there's 20 of them, at least an actual list for Lester Crest missions. He might have other missions in like the free mode co-op missions or whatever they're called. Not entirely too sure, but also I will unfortunately have to say this will be done in 2 parts because the video editor I have is limited to like 80 minutes and like 10 audio clips. So there will be a part 2 to this. I'm not sure when I'll get to doing that one. Might be in a couple of days or a week from now. I don't entirely know. So do keep that in mind. Regardless, for his first mission, there's denial of service, and it is unlocked at rank 14. It is a 1-to-4 player mission. The RP reward on max 16 plus minutes is 1,800, and then money reward 16 plus minutes is 18,840. And do keep in mind those will change depending on like number of players and stuff like that, which I believe I talked about in one of my like first couple videos or whatever on the contact mission content series that I do. So for this mission, I definitely recommend the Oppressor Mark II. You shouldn't need more than 20 missiles on this mission. All but one of the trucks is really easy to just destroy. There's one with like enemies protecting it, however, just take a close look at my gameplay, see exactly what I do there, and it should show a good way on destroying that vehicle. And then just being able to move on to the final truck where you collect like the package thing or whatever the heck it is. And then the time of day on this one's locked to noon on the phone for some reason, which is kind of good for getting certain like pre-modified vehicles that you can sell for the LSC. Not entirely too sure how you like keep those vehicles. I'm not sure if you have to like put them in your property and stuff like that. But that's a thing of like trivia or something on this thing. I'll give a couple of tips on this mission that are on GTA Wiki. When doing it as a team, one player should go for different trucks to save time, of course, since going to the different locations will of course make it much more convenient to pull off. And then the one at the gas station could be easily destroyed by doing a drive-by on the pumps. However, I feel like that's definitely a very outdated trick, of course, or tip. Since, of course, there's all these crazy weaponized vehicles and stuff like that, though if you don't want to use those, you can blow up like the gas pumps, or if for some reason you don't have access to those vehicles and are like low rank just starting out on the game or something like that. And then since the truck at Innocent Boulevard is guarded and then the guards respawn, it's not uncommon to attract police attention. And by the way, I'm pretty sure with the police attention thing, I think on these Lester contact missions you cannot use Lester to lose the cops, which does logically make sense since you're working for him, I guess. Just a little thing, I believe I tried calling the cops off on like every mission. I don't think there was one where I was able to call off the cops with Lester. So I guess the cop ability turning them off is disabled, unfortunately, with Lester in this mission. So it will make it harder to lose the cops. But at the same time, it might make him like the best contact to do contact missions for in this game. And then for the trivia section, it was one of 8 missions added with the High Life update. And because these are more like normal missions, I don't really do them in their own videos. Though I might do videos on like missions from like DLCs like the High Life update as their own video later on as like bonus content episodes. And the name's a reference to a common hacking attack known as a DOS, a denial of service attack. Not really going to explain any further on that, but you can go on GTA Wiki for that trivia section. And as I said earlier, the 12 o'clock noon time was great for the last mission, not the one you're seeing right now, for getting certain vehicles. But onto Master Data. It's a mission unlocked at rank 16, And by the way, I'm only covering 9 missions, I'm pretty sure, on this video, since, like I said, there's going to be a part 2, so do keep that in mind. It's a 1 to 4 player mission. RP reward, no modifiers, 16 plus minutes on hard is 1,800, just like the last mission. And then the money reward, 16 plus minutes on hard, no modifiers, is 18,960. By the way, for this mission, I do recommend a Deluxo, since I do think you will need more than 20 missiles. Plus, it's easier to get shot to death on the Oppressor Mark II, which could make the mission almost impossible on the Oppressor Mark II, doing it solo, at least. But anyways, I'll be going on to tips and trivia if there's any. And for trips, the mule will always spawn on the dock in the southeast of the storage unit area, so even if you... So you could of course go like destroy the gas truck before I did. It might save you a little bit of time on these missions if you're going for like the fastest time possible. Which isn't entirely convenient, of course, keep in mind, because the more time you spend on these missions, the more money you end up making for whatever reason. And then, like I said, that same mule is blocked by a thing of gasoline. If you want to leave as quick as possible, one of the members should drive the truck while never gets in the mule. So once the Phantom's moved, 2 members will be able to leave immediately. That's if you're playing not solo, of course. And then if the team's having trouble finding it, they of course can look for the truck, help them find it, as it will always be in the one spot. Those were actually free tips on the GTA Wiki, so sorry if they were all very similar. Though I'm trying to make these as informative as I can, of course. And once again, it's one of those 8 new contact missions, add with the High Life update, and then I'll leave a time code onto the next clip. On to Cops Capacity. The rank requirement for hosting this mission is rank 19 minimum. And then it's a 1 to 2 player mission. RP reward, 16 plus minutes on hard, no modifiers, is 2,160. The money reward for 16 plus minutes, maximum of course, no modifier, on hard is $19,140. And then now to see if there's like any tips and stuff like that. By the way, I recommend the Oppressor Mark II, of course, as shown in the gameplay. Since all you're really doing is destroying vehicles for the most part, I believe the hardest it gets is what's shown on the gameplay right now with the riot van. I believe the other ones are much easier than that, since you don't have to be so careful with like bullets firing at you, of course. Though regardless of that, you'll be just fine on the Oppressor Mark II for sure, I would have to imagine. And then there's no trivia, but I'll go over some trips or like tips, of course. The easiest way to complete is to have one person wait at the riot van and then someone else wait at the police bikes, while other players destroy the cop cars. So have different people go to like different spots you're seeing on here, like right as the mission starts. If you are playing it with multiple people, of course, to save time for sure. Though, of course, depending on if you want to make a lot of money or be as efficient on these missions as possible, you may or may not want to do that at the same time. And then it recommends the person with the riot van use sticky bombs, though of course, with there being all these weaponized vehicles and stuff now, that's not really entirely necessary. or of course grenades, and then police bike, grenades, and sticky bombs, and then the players can destroy the prison bus together according to the tip. Though I would just recommend weaponized vehicles once again, since using throwables is really outdated, I would say, in these days for Grand Theft Auto Online. And then apparently on the PC version there's a glitch where the riot van can't be destroyed by sticky bombs or grenades. So for some reason you don't have like very viable vehicles, you'll have to use the homing launcher RPG for some reason on the PC version for this mission. Very interesting right there. Then after destroying the prison bus, and by the way, I'm pretty sure I called Lester like not too long ago on the gameplay right now. So it's not just that you can't use the cop services, you can't use any of the Lester services in any of these Lester missions. So it does make it hard to lose the cops and stuff, so like I said, he may end up as the best contact in my opinion on this whole series. But after destroying the prison bus, players must lose the cops of course, which as I said, you can't use the Lester services, so it's going to be harder. But if all players have a 1 level and one player loses it, everyone loses their 1 levels. So only one person needs to lose their 1 level in order for everyone to lose their 1 level, apparently. Especially for those Lester missions that I'm going over on this video and in part 2, that will definitely be very helpful. And then there's a way to complete it by simply finding the locations first before getting supplies at the warehouse. Doing it will leave you the objective of going to the safe house. So what I believe that means is you don't have to go to like the vehicle that I end up going to on the gameplay of course, before I end up destroying the vehicles and stuff. And then since the next clip is coming up pretty soon, I might as well just talk about the next mission at this moment, so I will not have a time code on the screen at this moment. But anyways, the next mission is Crime Sinister, which is a rank 20 minimum mission for hosting. And then the RP reward on hard, no modifier, 16 plus minutes is 1,950, so it's in between denial of service and master data and then cops capacity. So it's not as much RP as cops capacity for some reason. And then the money reward, 16 plus minutes on hard no modifiers, is about $19,200. And then I'll go on to like tips and stuff like that. Now I understand I use the Oppressor Mark II on this mission, but if it proves to be really difficult, I would definitely recommend the Armored Kuruma over this. This mission is definitely a very perfect candidate for the Armored Kuruma. But since there were so many Lester missions, I wanted to use the Oppressor Mark II if possible to save on time for this video and then part 2 as well. So that's why I decided to use the Oppressor Mark II, just because it proved to be a lot more time efficient than the Armored Kuruma. But I do recommend the Armored Kuruma better than the Oppressor Mark II, even though I am using the Oppressor Mark II on the gameplay once again. And apparently time of day is locked at 9 o'clock at night on this game for this particular mission. And then there's a couple trivia and then a few tips. Like I said earlier, if you own an Armored Kuruma, you can do it solo, driving down the alley, doing drive-bys, and then you can pick up the cash however you decide to do that. Once again, like I said, to save time, I use the Oppressor Mark II. And then it's recommended to use explosives on the first line of police officers. Though unfortunately you will not be able to do that in the Armored Kuruma, since you can't use throwables in the Armored Kuruma, of course. So do keep that in mind if you are using the Armored Kuruma. The explosions you can get in this would probably help you a good bit in these missions, for sure, or this one particularly. And then since there's many ways into the alley, you may want to assign different ones to different people if you're playing it more than just by yourself, of course. And then when it comes to lose the cops, you can use the Los Santos River nearby to escape pretty easily, since there's plenty of places to get out of the line of sight of cops. Since of course you can't call off cops in these Lester missions. And then when one person loses their one level again, everyone does lose their one level, which is very helpful for this one. So you might want to use half your team to distract cops while other people hold the cash. That's definitely an option there. And then like with 2 of the other missions earlier, it is one of the 8 missions that were added with the High Life update. And then there's apparently a glitch where it's impossible to evade the cops, which then causes the mission to be unbeatable, since you do need to lose the cops in order to get the last objective done. And then I'll be going on to the next clip. Onto the mission landing strip over here. The minimum rank requirement or in order to host is rank 22. And then the amount of players that can do the mission is 2 to 4, so you will at least need more than one person. Though you can do it solo, I'm pretty sure, if the second person does leave. If for some reason you really want to, you can get someone to join you and purposely like leave when the mission starts. And I believe you can do it yourself. But still, since it required 2 people, I did end up doing it with the second person, of course. I just recruited like a random. So if I don't do as good as these missions as I do other ones, then it's because it's a multiple person mission and I didn't communicate with any of the second player people as I was focused on making the video, of course. And then RP reward on hard, no modifiers, 16 plus minutes is 1,375, so it's the worst one yet, apparently. And then the money reward, 16 plus minutes on hard, no modifiers, is 19,320. And then let's see if there was any tips or trivia, and there is not, so I will already be moving on to the next clip. On to the sixth mission of this mission. It is a titan of a job, the mission that's infamously the first mission listed on the missions list of all the missions of Grand Theft Auto Online. So just because it's at the top of it, I feel like a lot of people play it, and just something I wanted to mention. But anyways, its minimum rank requirement for hosting is rank 24. It is a 1 to 6 player mission. And then the RP reward on hard, 16 plus minutes, no modifiers, is the lowest yet of 1,200. And then the money reward on hard, 16 plus minutes, no modifiers, is $19,440. And then now to see if there's any tips or, of course, trivia and stuff like that. And then apparently the time of day seems to be stuck at 9 o'clock at night, which I'm not sure if there's any good like vehicles that are pre-modified that you can get at that time compared to like noon in game. But just a little fun fact about the time is it's stuck at 9 o'clock at night in the game, so that's pretty cool. And then no tips, but there's trivia. And by the way, I recommend the Armored Kuruma highly on this one. I recall I did it multiple times with weaponized vehicles. I think one time, I think it was my first attempt, and I don't record on those, I did manage to do with the Oppressor Mark II or the Deluxo. But after I couldn't really replicate it much, so I do highly recommend you do the Armored Kuruma, because otherwise you're probably gonna easily blow up the Titan or damage it too much to where it won't fly the whole time and will shortly stall out, of course. But in the Grand Theft Auto Online announcement trailer, the vehicle blocking the Titan was a Cuban 800 rather than the truck and trailer that's in the final mission. For those people who don't know, it was a mission that was featured in a Grand Theft Auto Online trailer, I'm pretty sure, before it even came out back in 2013, when it was only on PS3 and Xbox 360. And then, as I said before, the time's fixed at 9 PM. Like many other missions, the time is fixed. And then a dock handler can be found in the hangar, and it can be entered and driven. If you're inside the mission, the vehicle when the mission is complete, you'll be able to retain it for personal use. Apparently you can actually retain it for personal use. But be warned that you will not be able to drive it past the airport terminal road due to the excessive height of the vehicle. So you can mess around with the dock handler apparently for a little bit in the big airport area. For any reason if you want to, of course. And then despite Lester telling you to get a helicopter to enter the airport, they will not spawn unless you use Pegasus or a personal aircraft at the hangar, of course. And personal aircraft, of course, was added with the Smuggler's Run update, just a little FYI. And then on to the next clip for the 7th mission. For Lester's second 2-player mission, the minimum rank requirement for hosting is rank 25. And then the player numbers is exactly 2 players. There's like no other way to do it. By the way, I didn't show it on here because it was before going into the actual mission. It's like to set up the mission, there's 2 teams, like one's a rooftop and one's like some other role, I think. Though I would recommend just staying in a helicopter. There's not much of a purpose for the other role, I feel. Just recommend like blowing mostly everything to smithereens with like the Savage, for example. So I definitely just recommend sticking in a weaponized vehicle in this day and age for Grand Theft Auto Online. Maybe there was an actual purpose for the role back then, but now there's like no point for the mission to have 2 teams. And then the RP reward on hard, no modifiers, 16 plus minutes is 1,385, so just 10 more than the other 2-player mission, which also allows you to have up to 4 players. And then the money reward on hard, 16 plus minutes, no modifiers, is $19,500. And then now to see if there's any like tips and trivia and stuff like that. There is not, so I will be moving on to the next clip. Oh, but actually, I did forget to mention something pretty important, I think, for the other 2-player mission. I actually think there's a person with an RPG, so definitely make sure to clear out the runway, at least like the actual runway, not the like part next to the hangar. Because I believe there's a dude there with RPG if you don't clear it out in time or something like that. So definitely be sure to take care of that. I believe that was like 2 or 3 missions ago that I went over it. And I just remembered it. But anyways, I will be going on to the next clip. On to the next mission, we have high priority case, which the minimum rank requirement for hosting is rank 25. It's a 1 to 4 player mission. It's maximum RP on hard, and then 16 plus minutes and no modifiers is 1,650. The money reward, 16 plus minutes, no modifiers on hard, is $19,500. And then now to see if there's any like trivia or tips, stuff like that. So there is a bunch of tips and then a good bit of trivia as well, actually. So might be a while to go over this one. So a helicopter is apparently required. I think I was just able to like use the Mark II and stuff like that. By the way, if I did use the Mark II, I believe in the gameplay right now, I'm out of it, because of course I don't want to blow up the briefcase. So this might be a good one to like do on foot, just an FYI. So I think it used to require a helicopter, but now with all like the crazy vehicles and stuff, it technically does not require a helicopter anymore. And it's advised for the team to land on the Maze Bank Tower to have a perfect angle for sniping the plan's protection men. So apparently the Maze Bank is a very good spot to do this mission if you're planning to just snipe the people. I'm not sure if it would be good to use explosive snipers, but it could be a good way to do the mission, especially if that's a good weapon to use. And then alternatively, players can shoot from a hovering helicopter. So of course that's like the passengers and like the side doors in the back of helicopters. That's a good way as well. And then the Buzzard, Savage, or Hydra free, which are free recommendations according to GTA Wiki. If a player has those, the top level and open area of the lower level can be easily cleared with rockets, which actually might have been what I did, I'm not too sure. However, care of course must be taken to avoid targeting the men close to the briefcase, as it will of course destroy it. And then once all the men on the roof are dead, the team that enters their helicopter and lands on the building. And then more men will be on the lower floor protecting it. And once the briefcase is secured, an enemy helicopter with gunmen will approach from the northeast. Though I wouldn't really worry about it, it's pretty easy to take out with like a Oppressor Mark II, for example. And then onto the trivia. Along with Seeking Feeling, which I believe is another Lester mission, which I believe I covered in part 2. This mission has no respawning. I mean, if someone gets killed, then they have no way of getting back up to the briefcase, I believe the game presumes, so it just like makes them spectate. So definitely be careful on this mission not to die, because there does not seem to be respawning, because there was no like live counter on the bottom like right. And then the mission's a pun of the phrase high priority case, which refers to a court case. But in this case, it references a briefcase. Helicopters are scarce in Los Santos, as Lester doesn't provide a helicopter to spawn. And then that also does mean it's one of the more difficult missions for players early on in the game, even though it is a rank 25 mission. So if you are doing this mission, you will probably want some kind of helicopter, for example on a latest or Warstock for those who might be like newer to the game and stuff. And then Merryweather helicopter pickups are available at rank 30 if you don't want to purchase a helicopter for some reason. And then they do spawn at the Higgin Helitors at the Puerto del Sol, which I believe is like the main like Helitor like area thing in the single player, where you can like buy a helipad, of course. I believe that's the location, but they might not be there on the first visit, and if they're not there, you can just keep going like back and forth to it. Just a little advice there for people who for some reason do not have a helicopter. And then since it's already on to the last mission of this video, I'm gonna be going over that mission now. So that mission, of course, is Quarry, which the minimum rank requirement is a rank 30 in order to host. It is a 1 to 4 player mission. The RP reward on hard, no modifiers, is 1,920. And then the money reward, 16 plus minutes, hard and no modifiers, is $19,800. And for this one, I do recommend the Armored Kuruma, by the way. I think I kind of made a mistake. I was like using Armored Kuruma to get back to the quarry, so I think this mission ended up being a longer mission because of that. So if I do leave that part in, just know like you can use the Oppressor Mark II. Once you clear out all these enemies, you can use the Oppressor Mark II when going back for a second van. And I'm pretty sure you can't destroy the vans on this one. Unfortunately, you can't destroy one. Just to have to deliver one. Because some missions you can save time by blowing up extra vehicles, depending on how many people there are. But I think that's typically on missions that have more than one player as a minimum requirement. And apparently the time of day is locked in 9 o'clock at night on this mission. Just a little FYI. And then there's a couple of trivia, that's pretty much it. And when the player arrives at the quarry, 2 guards standing will be parked by a fugitive. Apparently if you approach the fugitive, it will cause a fire and explode. Doesn't say it's limited to any version, so I guess all versions. PS3, Xbox 360, PS4, Xbox One, and PC would probably have that, I would guess. Because it does not mention anything about like specific versions of the game or anything like that that has that feature. And then the last trivia is something I already mentioned because it was earlier in the GTA Wiki page, but the time is locked at 9 o'clock at night. And it's one of several missions that are locked at that exact same time. So anyways, I'm pretty sure this was the best mission for making money, even if I did use the Oppressor Mark II to travel for the second trip to point B, which would be from the warehouse to the quarry or whatever. So if I do leave that part in, and I do use the crewman, just know you can use the Oppressor Mark II or any like vehicle you want. Any good fast transportation vehicle would be good. But yeah, that's finally going to be it for this video. Part 2 will come out eventually within this month, hopefully. Well, not this month, but like in September or like later in August. But yeah, hope you enjoyed.